What's up, guys? So this video is going to be a very yappy video. It could be an hour long, 2 hours long, 3 hours long, but I don't care because we are very overdue for an update. So essentially, in a nutshell, I have been going through it the last 6 months. I have felt like I'm just on this constant hamster wheel. There's been a lot of things going on in my life. I launched a new business with my now husband, Super Boba. And by the way, I'm filming content in our Super Boba room right now. It looks kind of messy right now. I will throw up some B-roll because it is a gorgeous room that my best friend Tiffany helped design. But anyways, launched a new business. I still am posting videos about how to grow on YouTube and like teaching you guys content and stuff. I've taken on sponsorships, a lot of brand sponsorships. Well, actually, no, not a lot, because I actually reject, I want to say like 80% of the deals that go on my table. But even with the 20% that I say yes to, it seems like a lot because almost like every week, every video that I've posted this past year has been like, has had a sponsored segment in it. And so I've been stuck on that hamster wheel a little bit. And just planning a wedding in general, like nobody ever has experience doing that unless you're divorced and you do it twice or 3 times or 4 times, and all power to you. But for me, it's my first time. And so yeah, there's just a lot of things going on in my life, and I didn't really have the time and the space to reflect and think about it and really think about what my next moves should be until now, because now the wedding's done and I actually have some breathing space. So the last month, I've really spent a lot of time thinking and reflecting. And in this video, I kind of want to tell you where I've landed on, because the theme is I've been feeling like I have one foot in one type of identity and then another foot in another identity. Specifically, I feel like I have one foot in Super Boba and being the founder of that, and then another foot being this like person that's teaching y'all how to like grow on YouTube, and basically all of the content that I was doing before I burned down this multiple 7-figure online course business. And if this is the first time that you're watching my videos, you should probably click on another video because this video has no structure. Okay, you guys are over at my house and we're just yapping, but I burned down like a multiple 7-figure online course business where I was teaching social media. And it's really funny because the last 6 months I've basically reverted back to filming a lot of the same content that I told y'all that I didn't like doing, but I actually do like doing. I've learned that I actually do like doing it, but not when it's like my entire identity. And so anyways, in this video, how I'm gonna structure it is I wanna share with you guys what the last 10 years of my life has been, the different phases that I've gone through, because I've been having a lot of conversations with my friends who are also in their 30s now, and we're all kind of going through the same thing, even though all of us have different jobs. And I have a feeling for a lot of you guys who have been rocking with me for a while, you guys might be going through something similar, even if you guys, like your situation might be different than mine. So I really want to break down the last 10 years of my life and beyond, and how I've gotten to this point of me making this video. And then I want to share with y'all some like core lessons that I've learned in the last 6 months, because you know me, I like to structure my videos that way so that I'm not just blabbing about my life and there's actually something applicable to your life too. So with that being said, let's actually talk about me, the phases that I've gone through, and maybe you'll see yourself in my story and the phases that I've been through in my life. So let's start and rewind to 2012. 2012, I would say, is what marks my wounded girl boss era. This is the year that my parents divorced, or they decided to divorce, because I'm pretty sure they were gonna divorce beforehand, but they waited until I finished high school to do that. And I think that this was a really pivotal year for me because I almost like don't remember anything before my parents' divorce and who I was. I only remember who I was after. And who I was someone who basically got evidence that even the best men leave. And as a woman, you should always be providing for yourself. You can't trust nobody because one day they might leave you. I don't feel the same way anymore, but this was my thoughts back then when I was like 18 years old or 19 or however old you're supposed to be when you finish high school. This is when I started to really pour myself into personal development, and I started reading, like the first personal development book that I ever read was How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie? I don't know. And that book like changed my life in a way where I kind of saw what was possible for me. I started to be a little bit more calculative in terms of where I wanted my career and the people that I wanted to surround myself with. I also will say that that was the year where like import models and Tila Tequila look was really in. And maybe even before that. I think it was in like 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012. I kind of kept that look. So I would have like my hair dyed, I'd have contacts in, lashes, full face of makeup and stuff. And so because I looked the way that I looked, but my ambition was the way that it was, I would find myself in rooms with really smart people who would constantly be looking down on me. I remember one time I got into this like somewhat, I wouldn't say prestigious, but I would say that it was kind of hard to get into. It was like a banking internship. And I got in and I was just in grade 12. It was like this grade 12 internship program for people who are interested in banking, whatever. And I remember this one girl, she was like,
"Oh, I'm so surprised you're here. You kind of look like you'd be a bartender or something."
and I was like, "Girl, excuse me?" Like, I still remember that. And she ended up being a really nice girl. I don't think she meant it, but that's just an example. Or even when I got into business school, like my first year, I felt like a fish out of water. Everyone was like suited up. And I'm just this girl with like a full face of makeup. And I look like a party girl. But I don't really act like a party girl. Yeah. So anyways, I digress. This is what it's like when you hang out with me in real life, by the way. I just yap. But yeah, I felt like my image didn't match my intellect. So I'd always get these like backhanded comments of people just kind of either being surprised that I achieve the things that I do, or feeling like I don't deserve them, or just underestimating my intelligence or my ambition. I wouldn't say that I'm the smartest person, but I will say that I back then I worked really hard, and I don't think anyone would really dispute that. Like in college I worked, or in university, college, I don't know. In America you call it college, in Canada you call it university, but I would work 2 jobs during the school year. And then I would also run for like president for like clubs and my student society and all these things. So I would be running and managing all of that. And then in the summertime, when school was done, I would be taking on like the real internships, like the internships that would really craft my career. I interned for Coca-Cola, I interned for L'Oreal, and I studied brand management. I wanted to be a brand manager. And so out of university, that's when I got my job at L'Oreal. And it was like L'Oreal Canada, dream job. And I just felt so proud of myself because that was like the thing that all I ever wanted during my university years. And in business school, they kind of like teach you to like want those things, to teach you to want to have those like prestigious jobs at Fortune 500? Yeah, Fortune 500 companies. And so I got it, but I realized that the work ethic that helped me achieve and get to those places during my school years would burn me out severely when I applied in a full-time corporate setting. Because all my life, I always thought that I just have to work really hard and then I get it, and then I have to work really hard and then I get it, and then I have to work really hard and then I get it. Like everything was kind of a project. Like school is a big project, running for president for a club is a really big project, working a part-time job is a project, but working full-time, it's like your life. And so that's when I kind of realized like, this don't make sense. And then also Leon has always been entrepreneurial. He wouldn't be mad if I said that. I don't think he would ever be able to hold down a real, like not a real job, but like a traditional corporate job. He does not like following the rules. So he's always chosen a more unconventional entrepreneurial path. And I think at the time, because I was so corporate, I just never really thought of much of entrepreneurs. Like I just thought anyone who started their own business was kind of broke, or like just, I didn't really think about it. Like I just didn't think about it. I just only ever cared about corporate life. And so one day I remember him and we were doing long distance at the time. So I was living in Montreal, he was living in Vancouver, because L'Oreal is in Montreal. And we were having dinner once, and he was complaining, like just casually complaining about his taxes. And he was like, "Oh my gosh, like I can't believe I have to pay XX dollars." And I was like, wait a second. In my mind, I was like, your taxes is like basically more than my salary at L'Oreal. And also, you don't get money back on your taxes? Like you owe taxes? Like this don't make sense. You're in a different tax bracket, bro. Like that was like the first time that I was actually like, wait a second. So I'm the one that worked multiple jobs and did all the internships and like went to a prestigious business school, and you dropped out of college. but you actually owe taxes. You don't get money back. The math was not mathing. And then the straw that broke the camel's back too was like, I've always wanted to be a YouTuber. I've said this, many times before. Oh my goodness, we're already 10 minutes in. I have so much to tell you, but okay. Vanessa, wrap it up. So I've always wanted to be a YouTuber. I've wanted to be a YouTuber ever since 2009, watching Michelle Phan. I like Whaley. Those were like my J Loves Mac, like my OG. Oh my gosh, like I just fangirl. Wanted to be a YouTuber. Never became one because was just too shy, didn't think it was possible. Market's too saturated, not true. Of course not, definitely not true back then. And so I just always put that dream to the side, and I would tell myself like, okay, when I, have a new camera, I'll do it. When I go to school, I'll do it. Like when I get into the college that I wanted to get to, I'll do it. Never happened. When I get my own apartment, I'll do it. Never happened. When I actually make full-time income, I'll do it. Never happened. And so when I realized that, wow, I actually am in the perfect condition right now. I'm, working full time. I've got a corporate job. I have my own apartment. I can afford to buy a camera and buy lighting. Like I'm still not doing the thing that I've wanted to do since I was 14 years old. And I'm working with influencers at L'Oreal. I'm working with these beauty influencers, and I'm like, wait a second, I should be on this other side. Like, why am I on this side? I should be on the other side. And so I think Leon, seeing Leon having so much freedom as an entrepreneur and seeing the income potential, and then seeing my potential too of like, wait, I'm actually really smart. I feel like I could be an entrepreneur too. And then also seeing like me having the perfect conditions and still not doing the thing that I've always wanted to do. And also me being really burnt out and realizing this corporate job just ain't it for me. Like this is not where I want to be. Like this is not what I thought it was. All those things combined led me to quit my job. So long story short, in the last 7 minutes of me yapping, TLDR is I quit my job. And then when I quit my job, I basically had another chip on my shoulder. Like I've always had a chip on my shoulder because when I quit my job, I had these L'Oreal directors tell me that I was wasting my potential to quit cold turkey without another job lined up. My dad was also like giving me a really hard time, and I do not exaggerate the story because 3 weeks ago when at our wedding, my dad did a really cute speech. I'll throw it up. He basically apologized for not really believing in me in the beginning.
Instead of supporting you, I told you to find a real job. Vanessa, I'm sorry. And I'm so glad you're wrong.
And yeah, he gave me a really hard time. Like we didn't talk for like months when I quit my job because he was so embarrassed that I became a coffee barista. And then also at the coffee place that I was working at, there would be people that I went to school with going to that coffee shop. Except now they're all in their careers and they're all established in corporate. And for me, I graduated top female graduate of my class. And so for them to see me serving them a latte, y'all, it was the most humiliating like part of my journey. Like I was so fucking embarrassed. And I would just feel a pit, like so much shame and like a whole pit in my stomach every time I saw someone I knew walk into that coffee shop. I'm like, why did I pick this coffee shop? Please tell me, why did I pick this coffee shop where everyone studies at? Like, what's wrong with me? But anyways, I had that chip on my shoulder. So it was basically like, at all costs, I have to make this YouTube thing work. And for me, it did. It worked really well, but it came at the cost of me just like breaking my body to do it, working really long hours, taking on just a lot. And even if I wanted to replicate what I did back then, I don't think I could. I think that is just the fortitude of a 20-year-old. Like I think all 20-year-olds just have that like hustle and that like whatchamacallit, the energetic capacity to do those things. But now I don't think I could do the same hustle that I could do before. I could do a different type of hustle, but I don't think I could do that hustle. But anyways, that was my girl boss era. It paid off because I ended up building a multiple 7-figure business. Changed my life. And so I don't regret any of that. I don't regret anything that I've done in my life because it led me to here. And yeah, I'll tell you more later. But anyways, let me look at my notes because I kind of lost track of what I wanted to talk about. Yeah. So anyways, it paid off. I ended up having like a team behind me. I sold online courses because I had a video go viral about Instagram. And at the time on my channel, I just talked about random things. I was just yapping about my life. And one day I decided to do a random video about Instagram because it was a collab post with a person that I met online. Her name is Natasha. Hello, Natasha. She's probably not watching my videos anymore. I don't know, because it was so long ago. But she wanted to do a collab. And I was like, bro, I don't know if there's anything that we have in common, but I fuck with you. I like you. And so let's do a video about Instagram or like social media, because you clearly create content on social media. I create content on social media. So let's just do something about social media. And so I did a video about Instagram. My video ended up taking off. Like today it's got like what, 6-7 million views. And so my channel just completely took a turn overnight. Now everybody wanted me to talk about Instagram. And so I gave what the people wanted. And that also helped my channel because I was getting so much traffic from that video about Instagram. So the more videos I did about Instagram, those people would just watch those videos. And so all those videos would get like hundreds and thousands of views. And I grew my channel pretty quickly that way. I ended up getting like 100,000 subscribers within a year, or like 2 years, like less than 2 years for sure. And so looking back, I feel like I never, like it was amazing, but I didn't choose to build that type of business. You know what I mean? Like it was never my intention to be like, I'm gonna build a business that's gonna teach people about social media and my channel's direction is gonna be all about that. Like it was never supposed to be like that, but that's what people wanted. And so I followed it and it paid off, because I would not be in this house if I didn't do that. So I cannot regret it, you know? But over time, after like, 5 years of running that business and having team members and feeling responsible for other people. Like I was no longer just responsible for myself. I was now responsible for people who were on staff and asking me like, hey boss, like I want to raise, like I want to move up in my career. And like me having to provide those opportunities was a lot of stress, especially for a business that like I never really wanted. It just kind of fell in my lap and I was just going through the motions. Like I would hire coaches and they would tell me what to do and I would just do it. And like, I just never had that piece of me that was like, this is what I truly want to do. And I'm so passionate about it. And I like, this is my biggest life desire. It was not like that. Maybe there were points and moments where I felt like that, specifically when I was like really close to like my subscribers and people, and when my community was still kind of small and like I kind of knew everyone in a way. But as it grew bigger and bigger beyond myself, I definitely lost touch with the people. And it was more about the profits, because I actually had responsibilities to pay for all these things that were happening in the business. And so now we're in 2012. So like 10 years later, I am now the burnt out poster child. I am someone who's speaking on stages. I'm making like $500,000 a month. I am rubbing shoulders with people that you guys all like look up to online. I also look up to online. I was meeting my heroes, but I just felt completely drained. Like I just felt tired all the time. Like it was just not a good time in my life. I felt like all of my people pleasing had caught up to me, because I would just say yes to everything. I would say yes to whatever my team members wanted, whatever my coaches or mentors wanted, whatever you guys wanted. And it just caught up to me because I just said yes to so many things, where I just woke up one day and I was like, none of this shit is actually what I want to do. None of this shit feels like mine. I actually feel like at one point I'm going to get like freaking, I don't want to say the word is canceled, but maybe, because I just said yes to so many things that I could see myself at one point probably cutting corners. Like I remember there was one night I was like working on something for my mastermind clients, and I was just at my neck with things that I had to do, like speaking events, managing the team, making sure the team knows what we want to do. And this was all during Christmas time. Okay. This is all during, like, everyone's on vacation. I'm just like freaking working up, like neck deep in work. All my mastermind clients, I had like 10,000 students in my programs. And I remember that one night when I was like working on my mastermind stuff, and on the next window and the next tab was like someone else's program, and me being like, what are they teaching? Like maybe I should teach that. Like basically like copying, which like is not really my vibe and my style. And so that was the night where I was just kind of like, what the fuck am I doing? Like there's a lot of people that make it, and obviously don't want to generalize and universalize that like they all cut corners to get there, but I have heard stories and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm becoming one of those people that's gonna have to step on other people, that's gonna have to like really just do shitty things to get what I want and save time, but in exchange for like my integrity. And so I never published any of that stuff. I never even gave it to my clients because the next day or that same week, I ended up just shutting down my business because I was like, what am I doing with my life? I need a break. I need a time out. And so that's when I ended up, making an announcement. The first thing I did, well, I don't even know if I should get into this. It's like very long-winded, but I basically shut everything down. Like I had to tell my team, because I knew that in the next chapter of whatever I was falling into, I didn't even know if I was going to keep that business. I didn't want to have anyone hanging on. I just would rather them find another opportunity or me help them find another opportunity rather than like trying to gatekeep them for myself, and having them on standby, because that was another thing is like, I didn't want anyone to be waiting on me. I didn't want to be like, oh, like Katie needs me be back in 6 months, because I don't know how long healing takes. I don't know how long self-discovery takes. And so I didn't want that responsibility. I refunded all of my mastermind clients because at the time my mastermind was still pretty new. We were just like 2 months into it. We did an event. And so I gave them the opportunity to download everything that I ever like put out, and I gave them all their money back. And then for my course, Boss Gram Academy, I did a retirement sale. People basically bought the program at a really discounted price because I was shutting it down. And then for any student that was still in the program during my sabbatical, I just did like monthly calls with them still until the last person no longer had access. So 2023 was my soft girl era. Soft girl era in a sense where I just completely rejected the girl boss movement. I was like, fuck them girl bosses. Like that's the reason why I feel so sick and like why I'm so miserable, and like, nah, that hustle, no, anti-hustle. And so during my sabbatical, I like muted everybody on Instagram. I only hung out with my friends. I just like didn't want to see nobody. I also felt pretty jaded because there was just so many people yapping about my situation, and I know that's normal, that's to be expected, but there were some people that were yapping and I was like, girl, you should not be yapping about me. Like, what the fuck? Like, there was this one person, I'm not gonna name their name because I don't want to create drama, but she used my burnout story to sell her fucking productivity course or whatever in her email list, like the day that I burned down my business. And like behind the scenes, these people are like, oh, like, it's like when they want something, they want to collab with you, they want to do all these things. And then when you like clearly are going through the shitter, like they just use your story to sell their shit. Like that did not sit well with me. And I saw a lot of that going on. Anyways, I was just mad. And yeah, during my sabbatical, I was just mad, but also I was happy because I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a taste of freedom. And also I was really sick, so most of my sabbatical during my soft girl era, I just like rested and I slept a lot. I would sleep like 12-hour days for the first half of my sabbatical because for so long, for like over a decade while I was in my girl boss era, I just put my body through so much and I just like coped with it. Like I had high functioning anxiety, high functioning burnout, high functioning everything. And so when I finally didn't have any of those structures holding it in place during my sabbatical and they all just like came off, like I was just dead. Like I needed to sleep, I needed to rest. And so that's what I did. And then I also traveled a lot, and I actually went to dinner with a couple that we met at church the other night. And they were also asking about my story and stuff. And the couple that we met, like they don't travel much. And they were like, yeah, you and Leon travel so much. Must be so nice. Like, were you guys always like that? And I was like, no, like I actually also used to be someone that never traveled. But it wasn't until my sabbatical where now almost like every year since my sabbatical, I've been like traveling to different places. And it's like something that I bake into my schedule now. So it's really interesting. But anyways, that year was when I explored the world a little bit more and I fell in love with it, and now I love traveling. And so, yeah, soft girl era, rejected any type of structure. I literally would be begging Leon every single day, like, can you just retire me, bro? Like, I just want to be a stay-at-home mom. don't want to work anymore. Like, I don't want to work. Just retire me, bro. Like, I'm good. I could just be satisfied not doing anything for the rest of my life. That's how I felt in 2023. And my sabbatical was a beautiful time in my life, but near the tail end, and by the way, I didn't know how long I was going to be gone for. I called it a sabbatical in case I wanted to come back. It could have been, I'm going back to a corporate job. It could have been, I'm retiring completely. It could have been anything. But I chose the word sabbatical because I thought that it fit my situation best. And I didn't want to tell people if I was going to come back, when I was going to come back, because I also didn't know. I was just so burnt out. But I would say like near month 8 of doing nothing, I then started to feel really like I feel itching to do something. Like I want to work on a project. And I think during my sabbatical, my main project was my fitness. That's when I really got into like working out, eating healthy, tracking my macros. So that kept me productive. I felt like I was working on something. But eventually near month 8, I was like, I'm bored. And I think my sabbatical taught me that retirement is not the answer, because I remember when Leon's dad retired and within like a month, he went back to his job. And I was like, homie, you crazy. Like, why are you doing that? Like, you worked so hard to retire. Why would you go back to your job? And I never understood it until I had a taste of what retirement looks like. And I understand now. Like, I completely understand why people still want to keep working. And I think for me, I don't see myself retiring. I don't know, never say never, but like, I can understand why people keep starting businesses. I can understand why people keep working on projects. I can understand why people keep themselves busy even though they don't need to, is all I'll say. And so naively, I was like, you know what? I think I'm ready to go back to social media. And I think the 1-year mark seems perfect. And so in February of 2020, what year was it now? 2024. That's when I came back. I posted this. All of my stuff at the time, whenever I posted, would just go viral because I think so many people were just curious on like what I was up to. But that type of exposure scared the living shit out of me. Like during my sabbatical, I wasn't really on social media. I muted everyone. I didn't really use Instagram. I was on TikTok, like not posting on TikTok, but I was just consuming TikTok, watching Netflix. Like I was consuming, not creating. And when I came back as a creator, I was just like, if you remove social media from your life for like 6 months and you come back, it is a very, very jarring experience. Like I had to turn off my DMs. It was just too much for me. And that's when I started to really freak out because I'm like, oh my gosh, people actually like want to know what I'm doing. People want to know what my next moves are. Like, because maybe I portrayed myself as someone who was very strategic and had all my ducks in a row, like it just felt like a lot of pressure. And because of that, I was so afraid to be online. And I had also lost a lot of my skills. Like now it's a lot easier for me to film a YouTube video because I've been doing it for the last 6 months. But like, because I took a whole year off of doing YouTube, I just forgot how to do YouTube. I forgot how to be in front of a camera. Like I did not prepare before I came back. I just came back because I was fucking bored and I was like, I'm ready. But I completely underestimated. But looking back, I don't think I could have done anything different. Like there's nothing that's going to prepare you for coming back from a break. I don't think so. And so because of that, like I rejected any type of commitment because I just didn't feel ready for anything. And how I would label this phase last year was I was kind of in my artist phase. And I was really influenced because I read this book by Rick Rubin, The Creative Way or The Creative Act? The Creative Act. And then I also did this workbook from Julia Cameron, which is The Artist's Way. And both of these books really promote the idea of being an artist, having creative freedom, not having structures and commitment or niche. And so I very much fully embodied that. And so when I came back, I didn't care to post consistently. And it took a while to not care, I will say that. I didn't care to stick to a niche. I didn't care to make money. I was like, who needs money? I feel like I have enough of it. And so it's not important to me right now. And so let me just do what I want. And so that led me to also like rejecting a lot of brand deals. And when I came back, The brand deals be crazy. I was like, holy shit. And by the way, I've never done a brand deal before because I was just making so much money like doing my own thing. Like, why would I promote your company when I could make so much more promoting my own company? That was my thought process. So I never looked at what the deals were like. And when I came back, I was like, you mean you're gonna pay me 6 figures to do this? Like, what? But I think a lot of those brands also like was referencing the numbers that I was doing before I left for my sabbatical, because I'm gonna tell you right now, they definitely don't pay that much. Right. But at the time I was like, holy crap. And so it was a really great opportunity, and I actually took a couple, but it didn't feel good because I was like, okay, I have to follow this brief and they need me to post it a certain time. And so I didn't like that pressure. And so I ended up calling my brand manager and being like, yo, like, I know we said yes to all these people, but I'm gonna have to say no. And I did post a video about it. And that was a really scary thing to do, but it wasn't as scary as you think, because at the time, like, my rationale was like, okay, I was able to walk away from a multiple 7-figure business. I was able to refund like so many clients. I was also able to like have to let go of my team, which is probably the most painful part. And so saying no to like a company is a drop in the bucket compared to all the other things that I've said no to in the past year. So that was my rationale. And that's why it wasn't super hard of a decision. It was scary, but I survived. And I think that also taught me that like it's okay to walk away from things, and there's nothing ever that bad that's gonna ever happen. And you can always like kind of be firm on your boundaries. Whereas before, when I was a people pleaser, like I would never do that. I would be like, no, but I committed. Like I said yes, they're relying on me. What I've learned from saying no is that people will move on with or without you. Like, and so will I. And so that was like a really good experience for me, actually, to get more evidence and muscle memory of like what it's like to say no. And now I'm at a phase where it's pretty easy for me to say no to most things. For instance, like even if it's a good friend, like, or even if it's someone asking me to like guest speak or something, like it's actually a lot easier now for me to be like, I'm just not interested in doing a workshop for you. Like it's not a time in my life where I'm interested in that. Sorry. And I think also because of like me burning down my business and going on my sabbatical and seeing this very little amount of people who actually gave a shit about me, even though I made their business my priority, like, you know, you want me to do a workshop for you, I'll do it. You want me to affiliate for you, I'll do it. You want me to refer people to you, I'll do it. And like when I'm bringing them money, or when I'm like, you know, on the top of my game, like they treat me like they're my best friend. But then when I don't have anything to offer anymore, they don't even check in. Like they move on with their life. Okay, noted. Like noted, right? And so I think because of that, it just became a lot easier for me to say no now, because I just know who my people are, who I will be willing to maybe bend a little bit, and who will I will just be like, well, no, like this doesn't work out for me, and you will find someone else. But anyways, I digress. This was my artist era. Very much so into very no structure. I would link this to like soft girl and artist, like they were kind of merged. But more so artists, because I was also like trying to encourage other people to create a brand that was like about you and not necessarily being in a niche, because I found a lot of freedom in that. But now let's talk about the next era, which is 2025, which is this year. And that is the in-between founder era. Because as much as I loved the artist era, what time is it? Oh, this video's getting long. Should I do a part 2? Should I keep it 2 hours, 3 hours long? We'll see. But because the artist era, like, yes, the artist era served me really well. It was amazing. I loved the freedom, but eventually it became really chaotic. Like, not having any structure, not having any systems was so fun, but so awful when you actually want to lock in, and when you actually have like an idea of a direction you want to go to. Like, I just felt so messy. Like, I would wake up and I wouldn't know what I was working on. And I think what added to that was my life started to becoming a little bit more structured, because me and Leon launched Super Boba. And some of you guys might be like,
girl, why'd you launch Super Boba then?
Well, for me, during my sabbatical, I wasn't doing anything. And I was also like, this sounds really cool. And I've always wanted to do something like this. I love bubble tea. I love milk tea. I got fat because I drank so much bubble tea. And when I wanted to be more healthy, I had to cut it out from my life. And I was like straight up so upset And I'm like, this is such a big part of my culture. And I ended up looking for other bubble tea alternatives, and they all tasted so bad, or they were really unhealthy. Because at the time I hired a functional nutritionist that was like doing a lot of gut tests on me. Like I actually got data of what my gut microbiome was. I had to shit in a cup. Like they had to look at everything, all my insides. And so I was very, very strict with my diet. And so bubble tea was like, peace out, gone. And so me and Leon started to like order all the raw ingredients off Amazon because we wanted to make our own. And when we drank it, we're like, this has legs. Like, we don't really see anyone else doing this. Why don't we? And because Leon was also in a phase where he has his own story to tell, but he's got like, he was in, selling, I don't know if I'm allowed to tell you what he used to sell, so I'm not going to, but because on Amazon it's like usually hush hush, but he doesn't have that business anymore, so I don't know. But out of respect for Leon, I will not tell his story. But he had a business too. He was doing Amazon FBA, and he also really didn't like that business. It wasn't serving him anymore. So he was also looking for like the next thing to do. And I was also in a place where I wasn't doing anything. So I was like, I'll support you. I want to do this too. This sounds fun. But not gonna lie, I was not that into it until we went to Taiwan. We went to Taiwan because the formula that we were trying with our manufacturer that we spent so much time looking for, like the whole manufacturer, like finding a manufacturer takes a long time, but we finally found one. And the stuff that they were sending us, because they were also like helping us mix and like source the ingredients, and they would send us a sample, we would like give them feedback and go back and forth. Like, not gonna lie, it all tasted pretty bad. Like, I was like, I'm gonna get canceled for this stuff. Like, my reputation's on the line. I'm not gonna launch something that doesn't taste good. Whereas Leon's perspective was like, oh, you gotta launch the MVP, get feedback and stuff. I'm like, yeah, that works if you're like a faceless company, but my face is gonna be on this. If you want me to promote this, like it's gotta be good, okay? And so we were so fed up, and so we were like, okay, let's just go to the source. Let's go to the motherland. Let's go to Taiwan, because the Taiwanese, they know how to make a milk tea. And once we went to Taiwan, like I felt locked in. I was like, whoa, like this is what I want to be building, because I got to learn so much about tea culture, what it stands for, the people. I got to try a lot of different teas, milk teas, and like just regular loose leaf teas. I got to understand the process. I got to meet the people, the farmers. It was just like, wow. Like I went from demoralized employee to like an employee that went on a retreat and was like, I'm locked in for this company. So that was really the pivotal point for me. But there were challenges along the way, and I'll definitely share them later in this video about my feelings towards like Super Boba and running my YouTube and doing all these things. But yeah, I felt very locked in and very passionate about Super Boba, to the point where I was willing to like just post it on my channel and like share more about it and talk about it and my journey. But because Super Boba was there, and there's like structure that's needed to grow an actual business, me being an artist was not going to cut it. Like I can't just wake up and not know what I'm working on, right? And so I found myself like yearning for structure and yearning for a little bit more masculine energy, not gonna lie, because I miss like waking up and knowing exactly what I'm working on. Like back then, I wake up, I know exactly what I need to work on. And I look at my calendar, I know exactly like each slot what I'm doing, and I would do them in most times in those slots. I had a team keeping me accountable, but now I didn't really have a team keeping me accountable. I had Leon, but he wasn't necessarily keeping me accountable, because I think he's very careful of not like poking the bear. Not that I'm a bear, but I think he knows like all of the, I don't want to say trauma, but I'm still healing. Like I'm still healing. This girlie is still healing. Like I still very much get triggered by like customer support, or anytime like an email comes through, I always assume that it's negative. Like I'm just very sensitive, because I think being a public figure, having a business that had so much exposure, like I only really, not that I only saw the bad sides, but I only cared about looking at the bad sides. And so I internalized that into thinking anything that is bad news, anything is bad. And so I think he was very careful of integrating me into like systems and processes and business in general, because I was coming out of my soft girl era, and like I was just so anti-working. To be honest, I was just like, too much work. No, this reminds me of hustle culture. No, I want to wake up whenever I want. And it served me until it didn't serve me. And so now I'm in that phase where I feel like just I want to still achieve things and I want to grow things, but at the same time, like I am so scared of going back into that girl boss era and then burning myself out. And I don't want to burn down another business, even though I think in anyone's career, it's very normal to switch careers. Just because you're an entrepreneur doesn't make it different. Like if you look at an average like employee or person who works a 9 to 5, like they've probably switched jobs like 2 to 3, 4, 5 times in their lifetime. So I think it's like normal to try something and have it not work. But I think because I did it so publicly, it's like I'm almost scared to like burn something else again and then have people not trust me or something. And so I felt like I couldn't fully commit to anything because I was so scared of making any type of commitment. I don't know if I'm making any sense. Let me know in the comments if I'm making sense. And so as a result, I started treating Super Boba as more like a hobby, like kind of like I do it on the side. Even though I'm very much so the face because I do most of the content. So you associate me with Super Boba the most. And Leon very much so does not really like being in front of a camera. Trust me. But he's getting a lot better at it. And so every day I would just kind of feel guilty that I was treating it like a hobby. But then I also didn't feel like I could treat it like a full business because I was just so unfamiliar with running like this type of business. Like I think it's very daunting to like actually sell a physical product compared to like selling yourself. I feel, I don't know, maybe it's just because I've spent the last 10 years selling myself that it's like very scary for me to sell a physical product, if that makes sense. Even though I do sponsorships and it's like so easy for me to talk about other companies, which is something that I think is so ironic and what is one of my learning lessons that I'll share in this video. And so because I felt like I had no structure in my life and I was really yearning for that structure and income, because girl, running this type of business costs a lot of money. Okay, if you are a new person, like if you're new to business and you're trying to decide if you want to do a physical product business or you just want to be an influencer, a creator, online courses, digital products, choose digital products. You will make almost like 100% profit. Not 100%, but maybe 90%, 95%. All you have to pay for is monthly software. If you like change your mind on something, you want to change copy, you want to change the product, you can just like do it on your laptop and boom, it's changed, and then you'll make like money, you know? But for a product like this, like we have to commit to the inventory. And so you almost have to put all that money up front before you even can sell the product, even though you could do pre-sales and stuff, and you could do drop shipping, but that's not how we wanted to do it. So anyways, this costs money to run. And it also takes a lot of volume to make, like basically with my old business, I was selling things in the 4-figure, 5-figure range, right? Thousands of dollars worth of product. Like one unit is $1,000, let's say. And so it doesn't take a lot of customers to have a 7-figure business when your pricing is so high. But if you think about a milk tea, like this is what, $40? And so think about how many customers you need to actually have a 7-figure business, an 8-figure business. You need a lot of them. And so to get that volume, you also have to be running paid ads. Like organic is obviously the best because it doesn't cost you any money to get that customer. But when you start running ads, like each customer is going to cost you a lot. And if your creatives aren't good, your ads aren't good, it's just going to cost you a lot more. And so it really drives down your profit. And especially when you're a startup, you're still trying to find your voice, you're still trying to find your brand, messaging, who you're actually targeting, feedback, all these things, you're still reiterating on the product. Yeah, you are not making profit, girl. You are not making profit. And so for me, in my mind, I felt like I was helping Super Boba by taking on sponsorships, and sponsorships were so easy because they also like wanted me to do videos that I'm very familiar with doing and that so many of you guys like obviously whenever I do more like real talk videos, I typically attract the person that wants the real talk videos. But if you look at the views, like come on, like if I do a video that's like how to grow on YouTube, like it will get more views than this yapping video probably. And so the numbers don't lie, and it was what I needed at the time because I was doing it with the like wedding planning. Super Bowl was so unfamiliar. And so the brand deals gave me structure. Like every week I knew exactly what video I was filming, because with brands, you have to like send a brief in advance. You have to fill out your calendar in advance. I was getting paid and I was keeping most of the profit. And it was something that you guys liked, or like whoever, like you guys as in like the viewers liked. And so I would get praise for it. People would say, oh my gosh, you're the best person ever. Like no one's ever taught me this, or you're dropping gems. Like this should be a paid course. And for me, obviously I feel good when I get comments like that. And so that was more important to me. Or like even though in my, okay, no, it was not more important to me because every week in my journal, I would be like, I need to work on Super Boba. I want to grow Super Boba. I want to do this. But my actions was not reflecting my intention. What my actions were was that every week I prioritized making YouTube videos. Leon would come to me and be like, hey, are you filming for Super Boba? I'd be like, no, sorry, I have to do a sponsored video. Oh, are you filming for Super Boba? Can you do this for Super Boba? No, I have to script this video, I have to film, I have to edit, I have to get back to my editor, I have to, like my whole week was just mapped around YouTube videos. And because there's sponsorship integrated into those videos, there are deadlines. And because there's also money being exchanged, of course, like I have to prioritize that. And I rationalized it, and Leon also rationalized it as like, hey, this is actually really great because it's funding this other business that's still starting up, and it allows us to pay our mortgage, our bills, and all of that without necessarily tapping into our reserves. And I don't know if you live in Canada and Vancouver, mortgage rates are so high. When I bought this house, my mortgage rate was like, what, 1% something, 1 point something, less than 2%. And then all of a sudden, like, unheard of, mortgage rates just skyrocketed, and now I'm paying like what, 5.84%, and our mortgage is renewing next year, so it'll be fine. But it's like, girl, I have savings, I have investments, I don't want to touch that. I don't know if this is like the immigrant Asian mentality, but like my investments don't exist. And so I still have that employee mindset of like, if I'm not making any money this month, I'm basically broke. And I know I'm not, and I know like some of you guys may also have that mindset too. It's like anything in my savings account, it's parked away, like it doesn't exist. Anything that's like my Bitcoin, all that stuff, whatever it is that I'm investing in, does not exist. And so if I'm not making money every single month, it scares the shit out of me. And so sponsorships was just so freaking great. I really like doing sponsorships. And for me, I would rather do a sponsored video or like have part of my video sponsored than having you guys pay for the content, having to sell courses and working with customers, because I have enough customers for Super Boba. And also like with sponsorships, like once I'm done a video, I'm done a video, I can move on. And so it's like a project, it's a very short project. And so I actually really like sponsorships, and I don't know why I never did them before. Like I feel like I would have maybe burnt out less if I did more sponsorships and less like trying to run a course. But at the same time, there's also a caveat to doing sponsored videos because again, you have to follow a brand brief. Hold on, my cat keeps scratching the door. Give me 1 second. As I was saying, the caveat is that there is brand briefs, right? So there is a direction of what you have to say. And sometimes depending on the sponsor, they want you to do a certain type of video. I know that there are videos out there where someone is literally like talking about one thing and then the sponsorship part is like completely different. Like I've seen people basically in a cooking video, like they're making food, and then all of a sudden like, get Casper, this great mattress. And like, I don't like that. And so I work extra hard to make sure that whatever that sponsored integration is, it still matches and is a seamless integration in my video, but that takes extra work. And so it's not just this like careless, like, oh yeah, buy this. It's like, I actually try my best to like learn the product, see how it integrates, like create the whole video, script it. And I think that's on me because that's just who I am. If you've watched my videos, and it's maybe why you like my videos, like some of my videos are like full on courses. Honestly, it's like I make a free course a week. There are certain videos where there's like 15 lessons and like each of those could have been a separate video. And I think that's why I'm so inefficient with YouTube, because I just put my all in it, and it takes me hours to like give my editor feedback because I am so meticulous, and I want to make sure that you guys are getting the visuals, you guys are getting the screen share tutorials, you guys are getting like where my mouse is clicking. Like each of those takes hours and it takes a lot of money. I spend thousands of dollars on my editor, and because I make her work so many hours to make sure that everything is meticulous, I spend lots of hours doing it. And so for me, sponsorships was like so awesome to pay for that, and it really breaks my heart when people get upset that the videos are sponsored, because I'm like, well, how else are you gonna get this information at this level? Like, I don't know. And I think that's another bad thing to sponsorships. It's like you could pour your whole heart and soul and give so much amazing value. And like, I'm getting emotional because this just pisses me off. It's like you could do all of that and you'll still have someone like devalue the video just because part of it is sponsored. And I'm like, do you not want me to get paid? Like, And it's so ironic because like a video could be about how to get paid as a creator, or how to be a full-time creator, or how to do this, how to do a YouTube channel, how to make money on YouTube. And yet the person who's watching that video is getting upset that the creator is getting paid. And I know that there's like a lot of mixed feelings around sponsorships, but for me, when I watch another creator's video and it's sponsored, I'm like, get that bag. Like, I'm happy for you. And so anyways, pros and cons to sponsorships. Like, another thing that was, I don't know if this is a pro or a con. Oh, a pro. A pro was like, I'm actually getting sponsored by companies that I really respect and I use, like Notion, Descript, Poppy AI. The Poppy AI video, people were roasting me in the comments. And I was like, bro, I actually use this. Like, wow. And so there's like a lot of companies that I would have promoted anyways for free, but luckily they paid me. And so I had to pay like extra attention to make sure I got certain details about their product that I usually wouldn't if I was just like, yeah, I love this product, I'm using it. But it was just so awesome because I felt like so many of the brands that I say yes to are actual brands that I really enjoy using, or I wish I knew about sooner. And I never take on a lot of brand, like if you could see the Rolodex, like I say no to a lot of stuff. And I only post like once a week. So for the 4 that I say yes to every month, like it's a weekly video. And anyways, that's the thing with sponsorships. But all this to say, this era that I found myself in was me feeling like an in-between founder, where I've got one foot in Super Boba, pretty much treating it like a hobby because I'm very uncomfortable with the idea of learning new things to grow this business, even though my intention every week in my journal, I am just like talking about how much I want to work on it and how much I want to grow it and the vision that I have for it. But yet my actions is doing this YouTube thing, teaching the same thing that I used to teach, because I've built up like 7 years worth of systems. So making a YouTube video is just easy. Like easy is subjective, relative, but compared to trying to like film videos for this type of product and like making drinks and finding angles for this product and like who's going to be using this product and like all these things that is not beyond me. I won't say it's hard because it could be easy, but it's unfamiliar. It's not hard, it's just unfamiliar. And so during a time in my life where I'm planning a wedding, I'm doing all these things, of course I'm going to choose the familiar. But now that I'm done planning the wedding and we got married, and I'll throw out some pictures, I finally have room to breathe. And that's why I'm like, y'all, I need to update you guys, because I have this thing that I'm passionate about, that I want to work on, that I want to see my potential in. But that will require me posting less videos. That will require me taking a different angle on my channel. That will require me being in this like uncomfortable stage where you might see a video where I'm talking more about Super Boba. You might not see a video at all, or you might see a video where I am, I don't know, going back to teaching you how to grow on YouTube because there's a sponsor that I'm like, of course, yes, of course. Like, and so I don't know, maybe I just wanted to get it off my chest of like what I'm going through, because I think it is weird that I'm going through all these things privately, and yet every week you just see like a very prim and proper YouTube video. So those are all the phases that I've been through, and I now want to talk about where I'm at now. I'm at 22% on my battery. I'm actually using a new camera, and in my video next week, because it is a sponsored video with Epidemic Sound, I told them that I was going to like basically do a video where I'm telling you, like showing you guys all of my new vlogging gear that I recently got, which is what I'm filming on now. So stay tuned to that video. It is sponsored. There's going to be an Epidemic Sound portion, but I fuck with Epidemic Sound. They're a really cool company. They're really easy to work with. And I actually use them. So, but anyways, I want to now segue into the lessons that I've learned. There's 5 lessons that I want to share. And the first one is a good segue because it's basically talking about how like I feel like I'm in between. I wake up and I'm not really clear on what to work on. Like I wake up and I'm like, do I work on a YouTube video? Do I work on Super Boba? Like I am so lost, and by the time I figure my shit out, it's already like 3 p.m. and I've already wasted the whole day. I also feel like in this phase of my life, I really prioritize my health. So in the morning, I work out for like an hour with my trainer, and then I have to shower, and then I have to put on my makeup, and then I have to make lunch. And so by the time all of that is done, it's like 1 p.m. and then it takes me 2 hours to figure out what I even want to do, and then it's 3 p.m. and then that's the only, like 3 to 6 p.m. is like the 3-hour window where I actually get work done. And because I was in my soft girl artist era, I was like, I don't want to wake up earlier. I want to wake up whenever I want. I don't want an alarm. And so I just was kind of inefficient with my work. And so for a while, because I would wake up and because I would like not really work until really late in the day and just feel like I'm dilly-dallying and procrastinating, I would be like, I fell off. Like, I'm lazy as fuck. Like, this is my identity now. Like, I feel so washed up, just as washed up as a laundry machine. Like, I just don't feel on it. Like, I want to wake up and feel on it. I want to feel purposeful. I want to feel like there's a sense of direction and I'm just tunnel vision on it. Like, I really miss that feeling. But I couldn't find that feeling. And the whole time I was like just internalizing that as I'm lazy. I don't trust myself because every time I like get a little spurts of inspiration, I then like self-sabotage and then I stop working and then I'm back in the same phase. And also me being very in tune with my cycle, I'll be like, oh, I'm in my luteal phase. Can't work. And so I just labeled myself as being very lazy and unambitious until I stumbled upon a video by Dan Martell. And the title of the video was like, it. Of course I had to click it because I was like, that's me, okay? That's me. And so I clicked on it, and this is the first lesson I learned that I want to share with you that I think might be helpful, and that is you're not lazy, you're just not clear. And when he said that, like, I didn't even finish watching the video, y'all. That's all I needed. That's all I needed. I think I watched 1/3 of his video, and I was like, all right, bro, you're onto something. I am not lazy. I am not ambitious. I'm not ambitious. I'm not ambitious. I'm not ambitious. I'm not ambitious. I don't remember. But I am not lazy. I am not someone who's not ambitious. I have not fallen off. I'm just not clear on the direction that I want to go. And I'm not clear because I haven't sat down to actually like think. And also, let's say with Super Boba, Leon does so much of the business and I'm not actually like, I don't know what our cost per acquisition is. I don't know how much we're doing every single week. Like, he basically knows all of the numbers, knows all of that. Like, I don't feel like I'm a part of that business because I've been so busy doing YouTube videos every single week, doing things that don't actually relate or link back to Super Boba. Yeah, you could say that if I grow my brand, it'll bring more exposure to Super Boba, but the content doesn't really transfer over. And so I'm basically doing 2 jobs. And I don't know how they click together. There is a separation. And I can't even vlog or share my journey about Super Bowl because I don't work on it. And so of course I just feel like not like I don't feel a part of it. I don't feel like a co-founder. I don't feel like an owner. And so of course I'm not clear on the direction. And of course I don't want to work on Super Boba because I don't even know why. Like, me and Leon haven't sat down since Taiwan, since our pre-orders, to actually talk about that, because ever since we launched our pre-orders, it's just been go for him and then go for me. But we are working in silos here. And so we actually, this past month after we got married, like, I haven't been posting for a whole month because we're just talking about our future. We're talking about Super Boba. We're talking about my YouTube stuff. We're talking about family planning. Like, how many kids do we have? What's the lifestyle we want? Yada, yada, yada. And I think that is also like when I realized too that I need to let go of most of my sponsorships and I need to let go of this like idea that I'm going to be a YouTuber for life. And I think that's really painful to say because I feel like in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, the channel's so close to 1 million subscribers. Like, I need to keep going. I want to blah, blah, blah. But that was like being a YouTuber with like all these plaques and being a content creator and being all these things was like my vision and my dream when I was in my 20s. But now I'm in my 30s and I'm like thinking, okay, I want to have kids. We've established that we want 2 to 3 kids. We'll see how the first one goes, or if I'm even lucky enough to have kids. And we also have run through like the lifestyle that we want, our finances, and realizing like, oh, like the income that we have, like, yeah, it might be enough for us or for me, but it's not going to be enough, or like it's not going to be, I don't want to use the word enough because we can always make things work, but with the life that we want to provide for our family, like there's more to this. There's more that we want. There's more experiences that we want. There's more people we want to take care of. And for me, I kind of had this realization that like the sponsorships and like doing YouTube is not gonna get me there. And even if it did, I would have to be like a full-time creator, full-time influencer, working on these sponsorships and brand deals. And that's not the life that I want. And that's why I like started Super Boba too, because I was so burnt out from being the face of everything. And I know that with Super Boba, it will require my likeness in order for us to like get our edge. And a lot of our like first few hundred customers came from my personal brand. Like, and I'm so grateful for them and it's amazing. And there is power in that. But when I see my life 10 years from now, like I want to do YouTube because I want to, and I want to make videos because I want to, not because I have to, and my income relies on it. And especially if I'm a mom, I don't know what that journey is going to take me either. And so I just feel more purpose with building something like Super Boba. And we also got to talk about why we even created Super. What does it even stand for? And the more we talked about it, the more I realized how, for me, I want to build the Asian Starbucks. Like, I go to so many cafes and it's like, yeah, caramel macchiato and like, you know, all these different flavors, and like a lot of brands sell that online, but there's so many amazing teas that there's like barely any North American exposure to. Like, yeah, there's matcha, and when I see matcha blowing up to the point of global shortage, and by the way, it's actually impacting our business. So if you like our matcha at Super Bowl, get some soon because we're gonna be out of stock. But when I see how matcha's blown up, I like see the potential for so many other flavors that like I grew up with to also get the same celebration. And so when I actually dug deeper, I was like, whoa, like this means a lot to me, because I used to be picked on at school for like the Asian stuff that I would eat and drink. And now to see like matcha being cool and other like Asian stuff kind of being cool is like, all right, like I want to spearhead that. Like I spent so much of my life rejecting my culture, and now I'm building a business that kind of like allows me to be loud and proud about it. Like I need to lean into that more. And so through doing that workshop and through us two finally getting together and talking about it, like I feel really lit the fuck up. And I don't know if you can tell, but I feel really excited about this potential. And so my lesson here is realize, and now I'm waking up at like 6 a.m. because I'm like, I know what I want to work on. I want to film this, and I want to work on this, and blah, blah, blah. And so it's not about me being lazy, because when you call yourself lazy, you're basically saying that's your identity. You're just not clear. You just don't have clarity. And sometimes you need space to do that. And I don't think I could have gotten that space like last month or 2 months ago. Like I needed to get married and have this beautiful time in my life where I can actually like sit down and think. But when you do have that opportunity, like really just think about your next like 10 years and work backwards, and think about the life that you want and work backwards. I plan on doing a video about our process on how we like came together as a couple to like do our planning, because I think this video will be even longer and my battery is already at 13%. But that helped me a lot. And so that's the first lesson I will share with you, is that you do have the power to change. You're not lazy, you're just not clear. The second lesson, and by the way, I wrote a Substack on this whole thing. So like if you just want to read the Substack, it's basically a summary of this Yap session, because I'm pretty sure this video is longer and has more context than the Substack that I wrote. But the second lesson, I'm looking at my laptop, is when you're desperate for direction, any road is going to feel right. But that doesn't mean it's like the right direction for you. So for me, I was feeling so lost and so stuck, and the sponsorships was what made me feel like I had momentum and I had direction. But that was like a false reality, because again, my actions was not matching my intention. But I just kept doing it because it kept me busy and it made me feel like I had a sense of control. And I wrote something in my Substack where I wrote, sponsorships, they basically gave me immediate validation, familiar territory, and predictable outcomes. I know exactly how much I'm gonna get paid. I also know like roughly how many views I might get on this video if I do this specific topic. Whereas with Super Boba, it requires delayed gratification. Like again, with this type of business, you're putting all your money in and then you're just like waiting for the customer, you know? And then it's unfamiliar territory. I've never done this type of business before. I've never done content for this type of business before. I've only ever like talked about myself and like sold myself as a personal brand and my skills. This is very different for me. And so I have to learn it. It doesn't mean that it's hard and that it's impossible. It just means that I need to dedicate time to learn it and be okay with it not being perfect. And I think that's another thing where with YouTube, it's so easy for me to make a polished video because I've been doing it for the last 8 years. I have a video editor that I've worked with for years. We know each other's style. But with Super Boba, I'm gonna need to find a new style. I'm gonna need to find new angles. Like I might like post something and it's gonna flop. And I think for me, like, you know, every time I collab on a post with Super Boba on my personal page, like it never does nearly as well as when I post something about like social media and content. And so obviously like it's going to be a transition period, and what I share is obviously not going to appeal to the audience that I currently have, and that's going to reflect in the views and the engagement, but that doesn't necessarily mean I shouldn't be doing it. Because if I don't do it at all, I'm never going to get to where I want to go. And so I need to be okay with that. I need to sit with like having lower views and having people leave and having people unfollow and unsubscribe, because it's not what they signed up for. It's not what you signed up for. I have to be okay with losing you. But it reminds me of like the next lesson I want to share. And that is, where is the next lesson? I'm going to find it right now. Is that sometimes it's like the scary thing that could literally change the trajectory of your life and give you that 10x result. Because it reminds me of like the last time I took a really big leap was 8-9 years ago, where I quit my corporate job, and I felt the same feeling where like I felt like I was getting paid so much, making $65,000 a year as as a junior product manager or marketing manager. And I could see like the future of me making 6 figures or whatever, multiple 6 figures, climbing up that corporate ladder. And when I decided to leave that job to do YouTube cold turkey, not even know at the time if YouTube was even going to make me money. Keep that in mind. I had no idea I was going to do courses. I had no idea what I was going to do. So it was even scarier back then. No outcome, like no guaranteed outcome, just the desire and the pull to do it. Like it was so scary. And I had a lot of people at the company, like high up directors and people in HR being like, are you sure? Are you sure? Because we see so much potential in you. You could be a leader in this company. You could be a manager. You could be a director. You could be blah, blah, blah. Are you sure? Because you would be wasting so much potential here. And I feel like the same conversation is likely happening now, like in front of my face and like behind my back. Like people have said this to me before. And people likely will say it online in the comments or whatever, is like, what a shame that you threw away your YouTube channel and your customers and your online courses for something like for this. Like so many people would die and want to be this YouTuber that has all these like subscribers and all of that. But what I've learned is that just because someone else doesn't like see that potential doesn't mean that that potential doesn't exist. And I often think about this like picture where God is like holding a really big teddy bear behind his back, and the little girl is like, but I like this teddy bear. And that's kind of how I feel. Like that's how I felt. Like when I look back at my journey, that's how I felt when I quit my corporate job, where I was like, wasn't sure. And I'm so glad that I left, because YouTube changed my life. Like I don't think I could have worked, like I don't know how, like there's no amount of years that I could have worked in corporate to make the income that I ended up making by choosing YouTube and therefore affording this life that I have. And again, I don't necessarily think right now it's like completely about the income, but it's about the person that I'm gonna become. Because back then I like didn't see myself as someone that had the potential to get a certain result. And it requires a lot of work to be that person, but I became that person. And I'm really excited for the potential of who I'm going to become in this process of diving deeper into Super Boba and into this new phase with Leon. And I think another thing too is like, maybe it's because I just got married and I see Leon like not just as my co-founder or my fiance, like he's my husband. And I think it just occurred to me that like my husband is working so much on his business and I'm just like slacking the fuck off. Like I'm not locking in. I'm just dilly-dallying. I'm scared. Like I need to be brave. I need to be brave for my husband, because he has shouldered so much of the work these past months while I'm obviously supporting us in a different way, but I definitely feel responsible. And that leads me to the next lesson, is sometimes you need to get called the fuck out. Like sometimes you just get so caught up in your own bullshit. And now with ChatGPT, I feel like ChatGPT is almost like the new Instagram filter, where back then with Instagram filters, or even now, it's like completely distorted our reality of how we actually look. Well, I think ChatGPT is distorting our reality of like how we should be thinking. Like all it does, unless you program it, is it agrees with you. You could be like, I'm thinking of not working at all today and sleeping for 24 hours and like ditching all my friends. What do you think? They'll be like, I think you should do that. I think that that's a great idea. Like, I feel like ChatGPT is like that. And because of that, people like bypass discomfort and they just, I don't know, they just don't actually think. And some people might be offended by me saying that, but sometimes you just need to get called the fuck out. And so for me, I programmed my Poppy AI to give me some tough love. And my gosh. So I basically told Poppy AI my situation, and this is what it said. And I was like, oh, you right though, but that, it stings, but you right. Like Poppy AI literally was like, you have 1.28 million followers across platforms and Super Boba only has 8.5K followers. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, that's a massive execution gap on your end. And if you were consistently like working on Super Boba, creating content for it, like that account should have XX followers by now. And it's not really about the followers, but me and Leon have agreed that we do not share our financials about Super Boba because the product-based business is a little bit like sus in terms of like competition and all of that. So him and I have like agreed that we do not share our numbers, even if we are making multiple 8 figures, whatever. Like we have both agreed that we wouldn't share that. But basically, like read between the lines, Poppy AI was like, come on, girl, what the heck are you doing? And I was like, oh, I just need you to kick me into tough love, like kick my ass into gear. And Poppy AI was literally like, okay, why the heck are you using AI to motivate you? Like, you just need to do the freaking work. And I was like, okay, sir. Yes. Okay. And so I think after like seeing that screenshot, I immediately just like messaged my brand manager and I was like, we're gonna have to cancel like 80% of the deals that we said yes to for the next half of the year. And we did that. I still kept a few that I feel are like really good fits, but overall, like it's a lot less. Like literally, I no longer on that hamster wheel. Super Boba is like my priority because it is important to me. And there's another thing too that I learned, and it was me at church, and our pastor was just talking about how within us there's like spirit. There is a body of spirit that like wants to come out and use us as a vessel. But a lot of times it gets blocked, and it gets blocked whether it is like your mind, your thoughts and feelings telling you that you can't do it, or just negativity. It could be your body, you not taking care of yourself, and therefore you not being able to carry that spirit as a vessel. And then also social, like being afraid of other people's judgments. Like in my case, I'm so afraid of losing half of my followers and half of my subscribers and all these things that I've worked so hard to build, kind of like that teddy bear picture with the girl holding her teddy bear, but it's like, but I like this one. But the thing is when God is trying to give you something, like it's easy to look at what you're losing, but what you should be looking at is the potential of what you're gaining. And in the sermon, the pastor at the church we go to, he said, it's not what can I do with what I have, it's what can God do with what I have. And I think that really spoke to me. And you don't have to be Christian or religious to understand this. It's more of like, there is something in you that is gonna serve a bigger purpose, that is here to like do really amazing things. And like from a Christian perspective, it's like God is moving through you, but sometimes you get in your own way. And when I heard that, and that was the same week that Poppy AI like roasted my ass, I was like, whoa, like this is my sign. Like I need to make a change. And then that same week, if that wasn't enough of a sign, I've been following Brittany Saunders, who is like an Australian business owner. She owns Fate the Label, but I used to follow her when she was a beauty influencer. And so she actually came back to YouTube like maybe 6 months ago, and I stumbled upon her video. And in that video, she talked about why she left YouTube. She's got like over 1 million subscribers, and she explained that she was also on that weekly YouTube grind, and she was trying to build Fate the Label, which is her clothing brand, and she made the decision to kind of leave her channel so that she could grow Fate. And it's crazy because Fate is now a multiple 8-figure business with over 60 employees, and beyond that, I think what's most impressive is that people actually know her more for Fate the Label than when she was an influencer back in her days. And so when she was explaining her story, I just felt very seen and understood about my situation, where so many people always tell me, why don't you just do both? And I'm like, well, what you focus on grows. And even for me, like, I wouldn't have been a successful YouTuber if I didn't just focus on it. Like, a lot of people would be like, start a podcast, do all these things. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna do YouTube. And because of that, I ended up succeeding at it. And I feel like in this phase of my life, I really want to put more of my focus to Super Boba, because I just see so much potential in it. I'm very excited about it. And it's not that I'm not excited about YouTube and that I'm leaving YouTube entirely, because I still really want to do YouTube, but I don't want to be on that weekly grind as much as I was in these first 6 months, in the last 6 months that I've been through. Me kind of shifting and realizing that I think I just got to take a pay cut. Like, I think I just got to go into my reserves, and I already did. Like, I went into my reserves and I basically I took out a chunk of money to just act as my salary while I work on Super Boba that honestly currently does not pay me. And I think that's the risk that I'm willing to take, because I have evidence of what it looks like to take a scary leap. It does require sacrifice. It requires risk. And I remember when I left my job at L'Oreal, I ended up being a coffee barista making $12 an hour. And that was like the biggest risk that I took so that I could start YouTube. And I feel like I'm in that same phase in my life. And the reason why I wanted to share my story is because I think, number one, back then, I wish I had an example of someone taking a leap. It's really hard to take a leap, especially I think in my situation where I've already built up an audience and I've already built up a reputation in a certain line of work and a certain career. And there's a lot of eyeballs on me. And I think that's also why I was so scared to commit to Super Boba, because it's unfamiliar and I don't want to be seen failing at it. But that is a possibility, and I have to be okay with that. And so it's a lot harder when you've like already established yourself as something, but you want to do something new. And I think even though your situation might not be the exact same as mine, I think a lot of people can relate, especially if you're in your 30s. Like, in your 20s, you're like doing all these things, and then you burn out, and you do all the things, you burn out, you have a change of values, you have a change of lifestyle, you have a change of whatever. And you hit this critical point in your 30s where like you want to make a pivot, but it's so hard to let that go when you've already established yourself in your career or financially or whatever it is, or in your brand. But I hope by sharing my story and like everything that I've gone through and like pouring my heart out, like literally this video is probably the most authentic video I've probably ever made. Like, this is probably the closest we're gonna get to like you actually being here yapping at my house. Like, I was literally I took a little break in between filming because my battery died. I was telling Leon, I'm like, I feel like I was just talking to my best friend Tiff on camera, and the video was like 2 hours long for some reason, but that's just how it is when you hang out with your friends. But all this to say, yeah, I wanted to share my story where I'm at. I'm not leaving the channel entirely, but I am taking a bit of a step back, and I think it's actually even giving me a little bit of freedom, because even in this video, I'm like, I don't care about the hook. I don't care about like it being too long, because I'm not optimizing for that anymore. Like, my YouTube channel is still gonna be here, but I'm gonna post like whenever I want to, or let's say some of it may be sponsored, some of it maybe not, and you guys just have to be okay with that, because come on, like, people hating on sponsorships, it makes no sense to me. It could be about Super Boba, it could be about just a yapping video, an update, but it just feels really nice not to be on that like weekly sponsorship hamster wheel. And I think in my mind, it just makes me feel better, even though maybe externally it may not look that different to you. I don't know. I don't know what's ahead of me. I also will be stepping up more in my role within Super Boba and actually like acting like a freaking co-founder of it. Me and Leon have established like the EOS system in our business. And by the way, if you don't know EOS, it's like a very popular business foundation system that a lot of businesses use. I used it for my past business, and I basically realized how helpful it was. So we implemented it in our business. Me and Leon are gonna have weekly meetings. I'm gonna take on more responsibility, like really get to know our customers even better, and just feel a part of the business rather than just like a little small piece of it. And I'm really excited about that. What else do I have to tell you? Yeah, I think I just wanted to get that off my chest, because again, it just feels weird to post weekly videos like nothing's going on in my life when a lot of changes are happening. And I'm just so grateful. And I think that, oh, I forgot another lesson. I'm just looking at the newsletter I wrote, and I was like, I want to make sure I cover it. another lesson, and I think this is a good segue to wrap this video up, and that is the people meant for your next chapter will find you. And I think after this video, there's going to be a lot of people who like disagree with the direction, or maybe after a few videos I post on my channel, they're not going to like it and they're going to leave and unsubscribe. And I think I have to be okay with that, because for me, I had to leave a lot of people when I left L'Oreal. I had to leave a lot of people. Like, I've always had to leave people who were always like, but don't leave. We like you the way that you are. And every time I've left those people, they found someone else that could serve them better. And I found other people that could serve me better, and vice versa. And just when I was talking to Leon, I was like, you know what? It feels really nice, because like, this is the first time I've really like truly really yap in a video and show a little bit more of my personality. Like, as if like, I'm pretty sure my best friend Tiv watching this video, she's gonna be like, bitch, it looks like we were talking like in your house. And I'm like, yes. But yeah, it feels nice, because it's like, I just know the people who are willing to sit through this video and who like my personality will stay. And those are the people that I want to like have in my corner and surrounding me, because we're probably a lot more like-minded than you think. And so like, for the people who always constantly criticize and like, oh, I don't like how you swore in your video, because I used to censor myself a lot. Like, because someone would be like, I don't like how you talked about religion. I don't like how you swore. I don't like how you, I don't know, made this video so long. It could have been shorter. I don't like this. I don't like that. Well, it's like, then you're just basically telling me you don't like me. And that's okay. That's okay. Because again, like, I cannot please everyone. And the more I lean into who I actually am and like present myself that way, or lean into my desires and lean into what I want in my life, the more I'm going to attract the people who are like down for that. And in this journey, what I've learned is you can go back, you can go forward, you could go around and around and around. And through each step that you take, like, there's going to be people getting off the train and some people getting back on. When I came back from my sabbatical, a lot of people who unfollowed me during my girl boss era followed me back. And I'm pretty sure if I end up, you know, saying things like, I want to like embody more of the masculine side in my business, there's going to be a lot of the soft girls that are going to unfollow me now too. But growth is not linear. I'm growing, and every video that I make is a chapter that you see in this book that I'm still writing. My content is a reflection of like where I'm at right now in this stage, but it doesn't define who I am like completely, if that makes sense. And so that's all I have to say. If you want to read what I wrote in the Substack, is a bit different than the YouTube video. Like, they complement each other, but they're both different. Then check out my Substack. I will link it below, and I will catch you in my next video. My next video should be about me talking about my new vlogging setup, which I am very excited about. And so yeah, I love you guys, and I will see you in my next video. And I just want to say thank you for all of your support, and especially if you've watched up until this point, then you are truly patient, or you're just like me and we are twins. So let me know in the comment section below if you got to the end or wherever you got in the point of the video, and what was your favorite part, or what you resonated with most, because a part of me feels like my story is not unique. So love you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.